Awesome. Okay, let's get this going, guys. So Bushbeads Premium Hard Wax. We're going to go through the product itself, just a little background of it, and then I'm going to throw it right over to Kim so she can show us what this wax can really do. So today you have me. I am Kiana, the Bushbalm Pro Brand Marketing Manager, and Miss Kimberly. She is our Bushbalm Pro in-house esthetician. She is truly the Bushbalm Pro queen. So we love her and we can't wait for her to get going into this. So the Bushbeads Hard Wax is a product that we launched last year. We launched it in the fall, and since then it's really, really, really elevated the whole Bushbalm Pro brand because now we truly are the one-stop shop for all professional hair removal needs. So we are so excited for that. Just with maybe like a raise of hands, or you can just even throw it in the comment section below. Who here has already tried Bushbeads Hard Wax? Okay, we have a couple hands up. Oh, we have a thumbs down. We have somebody who hasn't tried it. I love the participation. Okay, so yeah, hopefully by the end of this call, you're feeling inspired to place your order so you can get some bush beads in your hands. Some amazing things about Bushbeads, and Kim will definitely deep dive into this later, but this is an unscented hypoallergenic wax. So this wax was created with sensitive skin in mind, so it's truly going to be great for all of your clients. It has a really quick dry formula, so great if you're a speed waxer, and it has a gel-like stretchy consistency, so it is really easy to work with. The wax itself has a low melting point, and what that means is that the wax doesn't need to be as hot to work at its best. So your client's going to have a more comfortable wax compared to maybe other waxes on the market. And it is transformative. A lot of people who make content with Bushbeads love it because you can really see all the hair follicles on that wax strip. So it is super great if you are really into content creation. And so Kim is going to be going through the whole Bushbalm routine today, but this is just a quick visual on how we are truly the one-stop shop. You can start the service with the intimate wipe to cleanse the skin, use the wax. You can always add on the hydrogel vagial mask. I believe if we do have time later today, or later within this call, Kim will be including the vagial mask. And then you would finish with the service, post-service oil, and then you would send your clients home with the retail size oil so they can continue their routine at home. Now, without further ado, I'm going to stop talking because you guys came here for the demo. So Miss Kim, you can take it away.
Good morning and good afternoon to everybody on this call. Thank you for coming, and I'm just super excited. Always get super excited to do these classes with you guys and to help teach you guys and to help learn some new techniques and just bounce off ideas off each other. I've been a licensed esthetician for almost 14 years now, and I specialize in Brazilian waxing and mini vagials here in Los Angeles, California. I went ahead and put my @ on the chat, so if you guys want to follow along and my journey as the in-house ST for Bushbalm, I would love for that to be so that way we can communicate and create community and just keep in touch. So without further ado, I have a model here, and her name is Valentina. She's an amazing client / intern / friend / all of the above. So we always thank her for coming to these, sessions with me, because I know that it is something that is, a little shy for her, but she's always so sweet. And so I'm very thankful for her. Thank you for being here. So we're going to begin. I already have her draped with a towel, or a little paper towel, but we're going to go ahead and begin. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and remove it. We're going to have her go into butterfly pose. So the positions that you have with your clients, it just depends on their comfort, but butterfly pose is usually the one that I begin with. And for the butt strip, we will be going knees to chest. So please, if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them into the chat section, and we'll go ahead and try to answer them as we go along. And we're going to go ahead and begin. So go ahead and you're going to butterfly. And I think today we're going to do something a little bit different, a little more fun. We're going to throw in the pubic hair stencils into the mix today just for fun. Valentina does like to remove all of her hair, so we're just going to do this for funsies, okay? And if you're somebody who, like me, struggles with making shapes, it's honestly something that I didn't know I needed, and now I can't live without it. So we will begin with cleansing. So how many of you guys use a cleansing wipe or cleanser? Tell me what you guys are using. But this is what I have in my studio here, and I have my clients prep their skin with this before I begin. So I have them available next to their, belongings, or if they don't feel like they need to wipe down, which preferably they should wipe down, we're going to go ahead and begin as a pre-wax cleanser. Do warn your client, let her know it might feel a little cold, just because these are very refreshing. pH balance wipes, so gynecologists and dermatologists approved. And these are available for retail or bulk. So if you buy the bulk, this is really great to have in your studio. Next, we're gonna start. These are just this is the way that I prep my client's skin currently. So we're gonna go ahead and now apply the Bushbalm dark spot oil. So we're gonna do Bermuda today. So about 1 pump to 2 pumps is all you need. You don't need that much. And the reason is because the oil will help to hydrate the skin, create a protective barrier. And not only that, but Bermuda will go ahead and help brighten the skin over time. And this is a very natural oil. So it's gonna have jojoba seed, grapeseed, tea tree, lemon essential oil peel. Then it's non-comedogenic, which means it's not going to clog your client's pores. Again, so from here, this is just my prep. This is how I do it. And I'm going to go ahead and skip the cornstarch powder. Show of hands who uses cornstarch. I would love to know. Beautiful.
There's a couple hands, not too many, but definitely a couple hands up.
Okay. So cornstarch powder is meant to dry the skin. So as for me, I personally feel like sometimes clients don't need it. Their skin is already nice and prepped, and I think people expect the powder to dry the skin and the wax rolls over. Sometimes it will roll over a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, but it doesn't bother me. I just go over the area one more time. So personally, I have been skipping cornstarch powder. And we're going to begin with the 4 fingers outside of her bikini line. This is just an invisible line that I've now learned. So we're going to just work outside of her labias, outside of her bikini line. And this strip wasn't that beautiful. Take a deep breath. But it's okay. Sometimes our strips are not amazing, but I love the way the wax dries very quickly. You can see there's still elasticity and warmth to the wax. So this is really great for a beginner or somebody who's new or an experienced waxer. Take a deep breath in, breathe out. So I go ahead and tell her to take a nice deep breath in. As you can see that there is plenty of hair on that strip. She doesn't have a ton of hair on the outside, so we will not be expecting to see a ton of hair there. Also, Valentina's been getting waxed with me for a while now, so when sometimes people see, they're like expecting to see somebody very, very hairy, but you all know as an experienced waxer that the reason the hair grows in thinner and slower is because they're being consistent, and we're pulling that hair from the root, so the hair will not be growing in as thick anymore or as full. Okay, so we're gonna do cleanup strips. So these are just gonna go ahead and pick up those last minute hairs that didn't lift, or just hairs that are growing in a different direction. And that's completely normal if your clients have different types of direction of hair growth. First, we're gonna follow the main direction, and then after the cleanups, we can go ahead and follow the different direction. So we're going to go ahead and stagger technique. I know that this has been a really popular technique in our community. When I do these webinars, a lot of people are highly impressed with stagger technique. And that is usually the technique I do after the cleanup, well, before the main strip, and then after, when we do the cleanup strip, is when I do the stagger technique. I don't recommend doing the stagger technique on the first strip. The reason being is because we want to pull that hair very quickly on the first try. You don't want to stagger on first times, okay? So we're going to go into the labia. Since we're using the stencil, we're going to go ahead and avoid the top of the mons pubis. Last webinar, we started in the middle, and a lot of people were very excited to see that, and I daisy chained it. So we'll get into daisy chain in a bit, but you can always start in the middle here, and that will kind of break the Brazilian into 2 different sections, okay? But that's like something that I would only recommend for somebody who's very experienced and comfortable and confident in waxing. As you can see, the wax it's not breaking, because you can see that it still has a lot of elasticity. So a lot of people I have seen online say it broke for them. The reason probably is because you're not hydrating the skin. So make sure the skin is very hydrated before. Therefore, that's why I've been skipping out all the cornstarch powder, because I just want the skin to be nice and hydrated. And I'm obviously very comfortable touching my client. This wax is really, really great. It's fast drying, but sometimes if you'd like, you could pull it off a little tacky and it'll still come up as a full strip. So this is pretty tacky still. You can hear the wax, but we're going to go ahead and pull it off. Take a deep breath in, breathe out. And don't forget to apply that pressure right after, because the client will feel it. And if you apply that pressure, it will help the client ease their pain a little bit, okay? And per usual, as a waxer, I'm always looking at the follicles. I want to make sure that I'm pulling that hair from the root, okay? So let's go ahead and do her next labia. I don't suggest overlapping the labia strips. I know that there's people out there who do things like that for content or for fun. Again, like if that's what you're comfortable doing, go ahead. But personally, I don't really like to stress my client out, especially during a Brazilian wax. So I personally would feel like overlapping strips or doing a full labia strip is just not the type of technique that I'm comfortable doing. So definitely pay attention to your client's body language and make sure that you're always respecting their comfort and their pain tolerance, okay? So this is going to go ahead and that's perfect. Let's go ahead and pull this. Take a deep breath out. And again, you could see that the wax is not even dry yet, but it comes off as a full strip. And Valentina, how are you feeling right now? You're good. Perfect. So let's go ahead and have some fun. Now we're going to use the Stencil by Bushbalm. So this is a really great little additive that you can do in your room for fun for your clients, especially if you're not great at shaping like me. This is like a really great way to shape and not mess up. A lot of clients, most of the time, get most of the hair removed. But anybody on here, do you guys have clients who want a shape? Or do they ask for a shape? I would love to know. And the shapes come in different ones. So it's going to have a cute lightning bolt. It also has a landing strip and a straight line. So these are a lot of fun. And Kiana, how can the people get their hands on one of those?
So the stencils are not a released product yet, but we will be doing a promo at the end of May, where we will be giving it away as a free gift. So please keep your eye out for that. And depending on the popularity, we might release them.
Deep breath. Good job. Perfect. And then let's go ahead and daisy chain this. So this is what I was talking about, daisy chaining. You're going to take the shiny side of your strip to the shiny side of the other strip that's not fully dry yet. And this is a speed waxer technique. Take a deep breath and breathe out. There we go. So again, you could see the wax isn't fully dry yet, but it was able to pull it with that daisy chain. Okay, guys. Have you guys ever heard of daisy chaining? Or have you tried daisy chaining? Okay, so we're going to remove all the hair today. That was just a little fun little moment for us to see how the stencil works, but Valentina wants to remove all of the hair, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So this is where you can also daisy chain. If you're brand new to waxing and you're not fully comfortable or confident pulling this middle strip, this one can be very intimidating as a first-time waxer, or if somebody has a ton of hair, which is completely normal and fine. You can go ahead and daisy chain. Again, we're going to put the shiny side onto the shiny side. Gently apply a little bit of pressure, make sure it's melted on there, and then you're going to have your client take a deep breath in, breathe out. Good job. And I usually take those deep breaths with them just because I feel like it also calms my nerves a little bit. And at this point, you can go ahead and use your same wipe that you've been using since the beginning, and you could put some oil again. This is just to kind of prep the skin again for these flat hairs. This is a great time for you as well as an esthetician. If you're selling retail, watch their skin, let them know what's happening. Hey, Valentine, I see you have some flat hairs. Are you exfoliating?
Yes.
You are. What are you currently using?
Bushbalm.
Perfect. How often are you doing it?
Maybe twice a week.
Okay, perfect. So 2 to 3 times a week is typical. That's really great. Are you applying your Bushbalm oil as well?
Not every night like I should.
Okay, so that's probably going to be the reason that I'm seeing some of these flat hairs. It's great that you're exfoliating, but we don't want you to miss on that opportunity to hydrate your skin and brighten it over time. And if you have it, I say use it. And just, try to remind yourself gently after every shower, every bath to apply it. That way your results could also be a lot nicer as well. Your hairs are lifting perfectly, so don't feel bad. I just want you to practice a little bit more self-care when it comes to the skin in this area, okay? And that's honestly all you need to do, guys. This doesn't take a lot. I'm not very like, I don't pressure them. I don't try to make them feel bad. I just try to educate them, and I let them know that I care about their skin. I want to see good results, and that's the best possible way to do that, okay? Anybody on here ever struggled, you know, to put retail or plug in retail during your service? I feel like I struggle only because when my clients are in the room with me, I feel like we're just chatting the whole time. We're catching up on life. And so sometimes it gets a little difficult, but I do try to throw it in once in a while. If I do see that their hair isn't lifting as quickly, I will bring it up. This is also a great opportunity to watch their skin. I know people have in the past said, wow, like you've gone over the skin a few times. Look at her skin, guys. Her skin is not red, it's not pink. As an esthetician, I feel like it's always going to be best to watch the skin and pay attention to the skin. And here we are, we're going to stagger. You saw how that literally didn't dry fast enough, but we're going to daisy chain and we're going to go ahead and pull that hair. But gently, you saw me, I did not pull harsh. Her skin still looks amazing, okay? So now we're going to go the opposite way. And during this time, again, feel free to discuss vagials with them too and let them know, hey, I brought on a new service and I feel like you're a great candidate for it. Would you want to hear a little bit more about a vagina facial? And I bet you your clients will be so intrigued and interested. They'll be like, what do you mean a vagina facial? What does that mean? And I do feel like it's a missed target for a lot of people. And it's also a service that you can make a little bit more money. I myself charge $35 extra for a mini vagial. So it's an hour service that I provide. So after I wax them, I'll go ahead and start the vagial right after. And it also just guarantees you like a full hour with your client. That way you can perfect the skin. That way you can discuss more things with the client. And again, just kind of have that intimate moment with them and discuss all things vagials and why they would benefit from it. Okay, so we're doing the last main strip on the top. And here I'm going to bring in some of the top of her labia. And at this point, just be mindful of your wax, temperature, all of that, because I know clients will always say, like, how do I know the temperature where it's supposed to be at? Or they haven't figured it out. Honestly, just watch the wax. If it's moving like a cake batter or like anything like thick like that, like honey, that's good. If it's moving too fast or if it's running down on the stick, then it's way too hot. I would not recommend it. And if you're new here, then you can go ahead and patch test on your arm, patch test on the top of your arm. That's also a really great way to make sure the wax is not too hot. And apply that nice pressure. You could see that wax strip still had a lot of good hair in there. So we still got to do one more on each labia. And here I do say, like, if you want to overlap them, you can, because most of that hair is gone and she's not going to feel that pain of the tug from all that hair. Okay. And if any time that you're not 100% sure, ask your client, is the wax temperature okay for you? Are you feeling it too warm? Just you're the professional, you know that it's okay, but I think it's always nice to be mindful of your client on the table and let them know that you're thinking about their comfort, okay? And then don't be shy. Pull those labias apart. I cannot tell you enough how many times I have gained a client because they said they went somewhere and they didn't pull the labias apart to make sure that hair is gone. If people are coming to you, it's because they trust you and they want you to take care of them and they want a really good job done. Hence why I feel like a lot of solo estheticians tend to have a really great clientele because you are the business owner, you're the customer service, you're the one doing the job. So people want to come to you because they trust you, okay? So we're going to go ahead and pull this strip now. Very nice. Again, this was like the dual labia strip. She still had hair in there. And that is that. So we are done with the top. So at this point, you can again grab your wipe, grab some oil. She still has a few little hairs here. If you wanted to do another strip, you can. And I'm going to do it just to prove to you guys that it's safe and it's okay. And I love to test things out like this with people, especially live, because then you get to really see how amazing the wax really does work and why it's such a staple piece in my room now. Like I promise you guys, I cannot live without my bush beads. Any questions so far?
Kim, let me go through some questions that have been asked. Okay. Let me just see. Misha, you just asked what's considered a mini vagial. I'm gonna let Kim dive into that once we enter the vagial segment of this. Sadeh has a question, Kim. How do you properly explain expectations for this wax when moving sensitive areas that are a part of the service?
Wait, I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that?
Okay, sorry, I don't think I understand that question properly either. Sadeh, can you maybe rephrase that question? Because I'm not understanding that one. Vanessa has a question. Kim, do you ever get afraid with applying so close to the clitoris area, or what would you do if the wax didn't come off?
No, I don't get nervous. Because usually, oh my God, I love this question. Usually the clitoris is the main part where people, when they're getting like shaved or when they're shaving or trimming themselves, it's so hard to get into that mount and in that area. So I feel like when people come in, they genuinely want you to remove all of that hair, right? So let's just say someone has a very deep clitoral hood, normal, right? You could put your leg straight, love. Go ahead. That's normal. But what you want to do is have them go knees to chest. I know it sounds crazy, but when they're knees to chest, you're able to kind of move that body around a little bit better, and you're able to kind of see everything a little bit better. So go knees to chest now. And then let me see if I can demonstrate this a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm gonna grab this and try to. I'm so sorry, guys. I feel like I'm not able to move this. I'm using
we can't see her.
It's okay. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna remove it from here. I'm just gonna have to put something down on my table. It's fine. Is this okay?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, guys, ready? So you're just gonna wipe down. You don't have to use anything particularly back here. If you want to apply a little oil, if you see your clients are a little dry or dehydrated, go for it. So at this point, this is where I mean, if you really want to get into that clitoral hood, this is the best possible way to do it. The reason being is because your clients literally open front to back. And if, let's just say I have clients who are plus size, I can't always get all the way in there. So when they're like this, I'll have them open and I will literally apply that clitoral hood strip right here while they're on knees to chest. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense because I feel like that's the best way possible, okay? And you're gonna apply some mild pressure. You could see that hair. We're almost done, guys. And this is a really great point too to like let your client know you are doing a great job, girlfriend. Like, congrats, you're almost there. Give it a second. And have them open up. The more they open up, the better, because you're able to see that area from front to back. So this is where I would pull this clitoral hood strip. Again, make sure that they're comfy and pull slow. You don't need to pull if it's like a strip of cleanup. You see she still had a little bit of hair in there. And again, not fully dry. So we're going to go ahead and pull this one. And we're about to do the butterfly strip for the butt strip. And this one just basically means we're going to go ahead and apply both. So we're going to put some here and here. And we're going to butterfly her. She's doing great because she's a little shaky. That's normal, guys. Your clients are going to shake a little bit. They're a little in pain. They're a little uncomfortable with this position. So yeah, don't be shy to do the, the clitoral strip when they're on knees to chest, okay? Okay, so we're going to remove shiny side to shiny side. Ready? And we're going to just keep pulling up, okay? And be gentle at this point because this is a very sensitive area. And that is it. Okay, you can go ahead and put your legs straight.
And we do have a new, a rephrased question. So obviously this service, you're going to be near sensitive areas like the clitoris and the vulva, but what's the best way to explain to your clients like this is what you can expect in terms of like where you're going to be placing your hand and like making them feel comfortable with touching them in just like an intimate like way?
Yeah. So I think that as long as you're explaining what you're doing, that should be enough. because I do feel like if someone is coming in to have a Brazilian wax done, they know what they're in for. They know what they're signing up for. It's a matter of just you explaining what you're doing. And if it's a first timer, I think always go with like a sort of like a verbatim and explain what you're doing and why you're doing it, if that makes sense. So just be like, I'm gonna go ahead and apply some pressure after this strip. There's just ways you can say things without being too like too saying too much. It's just that they're here to get their hair removed, and I don't feel like you need to overly explain everything you're doing as well, because you're the professional. And I feel like most people are coming in for wax are there because they trust you or they've heard good things from other people or on your Yelp or things like that.
Perfect. Amy has a question. How does her skin feel after waxing while wiping down the area? Is it sensitive to touch?
I mean, if Valentina wants to answer that question, how does your skin feel?
It normally feels fine. I would say it is a little sensitive right now just because I know I'm about to start my period. But other than that, it always feels fine. Kim doesn't touch too hard to where it hurts. It's just very gentle.
I think just like creating gentle hands and gentle touches. Even when you're applying pressure, I feel like I've seen, and when I've trained new people, they tend to kind of come at like an angle where they're like, it's like, just try to create a touch where it's like, okay, you just pull that strip off, cool, and then just go a nice, just firm touch, nothing too rough, okay? Okay.
Okay, love. And then another question, with plus size clients, do you have them hold their tummy up? I've had plus size clients help hold, but they feel bad about it and they feel insecure about their tummy.
I genuinely don't feel like there's anything wrong with asking for help from your client, because sometimes I do feel like there comes a point where if someone is plus size, and again, they should know their body, they should know how they feel. But I think as long as you're, again, like explaining that if they hold their tummy taut, it'll help with holding the skin taut, which will be a little less painful for them. Again, I am a self-considered like a mid-sized queen. So when I'm getting my waxes, I already know that I have to kind of hold my tummy a little taut, especially because I have a kid. I have my son is 6 years old. So when I had my son, my stomach is not as firm as it used to be, and that's okay. But again, I feel like as a mid-sized girly, I already know that I would prefer to just put my hands here too. And then maybe it's just like a comfort thing. You could tell them like, if you're uncomfortable, if you don't know where to place your hands, I'm going to go ahead and have you place them here on your tummy and just hold a little taut. And it also gives them a place to put their hands so that way they're not nervous.
Okay, I think that's super helpful. Anne is just having issues with getting the wax to the right consistency. Apparently for her, it always gets too runny. Do you have any advice for her?
Definitely. I think that, like I've explained this before in the past as well, is try to play with the wax on your actual pot, because I feel like all wax pots run very different as far as like the temperature goes. So definitely just make sure you're like playing with the consistency of your wax and the pot. Every time you're mixing it, it should be at least the consistency of cake batter. If it's too runny, your wax pot is too hot, and that again is okay because some wax pots run differently. So play with it kind of like if it were a crock pot, just make sure you're moving it around as you're working as well. I have to do the same because my room runs really cold because it gets hot in here and I have a fan going on sometimes. So sometimes I have to come and like adjust it, turn it up, turn it down, turn it up, turn it down. And I feel like as an experienced waxer, we already know that that's going to be something we have to do. Unless you have like a controlled temperature wax pot, I feel like my pot is kind of like a little more old school. So I have to definitely play with the temperature a little bit more. Good. Should we start the vagial?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay. So can you see Valentina?
Can we see her?
Yes.
No, I don't think that screen is on.
Okay. I don't know what happened. Like just
I
got
think
this
might have
iPhone.
to-
This iPhone is like a little, it's a little here we go.
Okay, yeah, that screen is back.
Okay. It's because whenever I place it on this thing, it'll hopefully this works. Is that okay? I'm so sorry. Did it stop again?
I think it stopped again.
Oh yeah, it's doing it again. Oh, I don't know what's going on with this
Can you
thing.
hold it?
Yes, if you could just hold it for me. It'll be fast. This part is really quick. Okay. I also don't know why I'm not able to turn it around. I apologize for the delay, guys. How do I turn it around? Okay. So just if you can hold it here like this. Perfect. Okay. So we're gonna start with the quick, you could do a quick cleanse. You could use another cleansing wipe if you'd like. But we're gonna do some high frequency. This will help to kill the bacteria, prevent ingrowns, bumps, and breakouts. You don't have to do this for too long. I have my clients usually put their legs straight and I focus more on the areas that I feel like they're breaking out. So this is really great too if somebody has like PCOS or they have HS, things like that, because it'll help to kill that bacteria, okay? So at this point, you can use like a gauze. I just use it directly onto the skin. I know there's different ways to use it, and we can easily like discuss that as well, but I just usually use it direct to the skin. And then after that, I'll go ahead and apply the Bushbalm Hydrogel mask. This mask is honestly one of the best masks I've ever used as far as like in my studio because it's very quick to use. 10 minutes, you can see the results. The ingredients have like hyaluronic acid, aloe vera, green tea extract. And then there's two versions. So there's the side strips and then there's the triangle. This is going to really feel nice on the client's skin. It's going to feel very cooling. So it's going to help to bring down redness, irritation, helps to hydrate the skin. And it's basically in the middle. So this is the plastic version is not what you're using. And the white version is not what you're using. It's the see-through version. Okay. So it's going to be clear. Your client will probably feel it a little cool. So just warn them. I usually go into the mask and I'll just kind of grab that leftover liquid and I'll apply it all over her sides and area. At this point, I feel like it covers pretty much her body. But if you wanted to add like an underarm wax at this point, a brow wax, anything that's going to consider yourself to 10 minutes that you could do it. You can also use the side strips for underarms. You can use the side strips for the brows. This is a really great alternative way to use the mask as well. Okay. So at this point, you would leave your client with the mask for 10 minutes. You could step away. You can mix wax. You can do inventory. Again, you can see her skin is not even red, not even pink. And I also really feel like confident when I apply this mask because I know the clients are going to feel very refreshed after and they're going to see their skin so hydrated and glowy. And this is where I feel like, again, like if you don't have time to do it in house, you can have them take it home and do it at home. So you could sell this for retail or you can do this for your back bar as well. Or you could do both. Okay. So at this point, we're going to let her lay there. We can give her a minute to relax. We can do a scalp massage. And remember, sometimes like when clients come in, they're pleasantly surprised with their experience to the point where this is where I think you can do something a little more relaxing for them. And they'll more than likely go home and tell all their friends about it. And they're going to say how much they really enjoyed their Brazilian wax experience, which is something rare I feel is said sometimes. At this point, you can do like a cool steam if you'd like. I know hot steam is always a like a no-no if you'd like, but I sometimes do hot steam, but it's like a sterilized steamer. But if you'd like to do cool steam or no steam at all, this is going to be the best step at the end of their wax, okay? So if 10 minutes pass by, we'll remove the mask. We'll do extractions. So this is where I can go ahead and tweeze some hair. If she's comfortable with it, I can do some tweezing. Extractions, I could see like a black hair ready to go. And then we could do a cold globe at the end as well. So the cold globe will help to just cool off the skin again, bring that redness down if your client was a little bit of red. And again, always make sure when you're doing high frequency that there's no contraindications with your client. So just some examples are autoimmune disorders, pregnancy, breastfeeding, and then the ingredients, make sure nobody is allergic to like aloe vera or green tea or hyaluronic acid. Okay.
And we have a good question here. I'm just going to answer the questions related to the vagial masks, and then we'll go back later into other questions afterwards. But Vanessa's just asking, what's your feedback on the Estee Max masks that are on the market versus the Bushbalm vagial mask?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I have used the Estee Max ones in the past. And quite honestly, those were the ones I began my journey with. But I found that it was way too much work as far as like applying it to the skin, waiting for the mask to set. having to remove it, having to use towels, having to use, it was just way too messy for me. And personally, I don't have the time for all of that, especially if I'm booked back to back to back. I found it that these were just way better ingredients, more natural based ingredients that I love for my client's skin. And the mess, like I didn't have any mess with these. And I just found that I loved the way the client's skin looked. Mess and cleanup time was faster. Inventory is better. I'm not struggling with how many more masks can I get out of this bottle. I genuinely just enjoy being able to do my job, have great results, and not have to deal with mess. I think that's like the biggest part for me, is like how messy it would get at one point.
Do you find the results to be similar or pretty different?
I find it that they're very similar, but also very different in their own way. I do feel like the rice powder enzymes, it does create some of an mild exfoliation. But again, because they just got a wax, I feel like these masks were bringing down so much of the redness and irritation, or like sometimes people would get pink, especially first timers. I found it that these masks were bringing their skin to like a better skin color at the end, and they were more excited with the way their skin looked at the end. So I genuinely feel like these were my go-to, and I kind of just kept gravitating more towards these.
Okay, I love that. And then we have a question from Courtney. She's just asking, what do you use for cold steam?
There's like cold steamers. There's steamers that have different settings on there. I think that you would have to definitely do that research and find one, but there are such thing as cool steams. And again, I think clients just like a little bit of an experience. So definitely like up to you, and definitely something that you could look into if that's something that you want to do. And this is where I'm going to just get one of those ingrowns. Okay.
And then, Kim, we do have a question here. What is considered a mini vagial versus like a deluxe vagial? How would you differentiate those?
Yeah, the mini vagial would be done right away. And again, this is going to be a small, like a shortcut version, I guess you could say, of the vagial. So you're going to start with waxing, you cleanse, and then you go ahead and do high frequency. You apply the hydrogel mask, and then you can go ahead and do extractions and tweezing. Then you apply the Bushbalm dark spot oil, and then you grab a cold globe, and then you run the globe on the skin, which I store in a mini fridge. So that's considered the mini. And again, you can charge up to $30, $35, $40 on top of your Brazilian wax. It just depends on your demographic and how much you're able to charge for that. And then the deluxe vagial, they would have to come in 2 weeks post Brazilian wax. You could do both mini and deluxe, but the deluxe would be like a full facial for the vulva. So we're talking a double cleanse, a exfoliating scrub, steam, a mask, extractions. You could do a chemical peel, anything like that. That's like considered a full facial for the face, but now you're going to be doing it for the vulva, if that makes sense. Okay. And that again only should be done 2 weeks post wax, 2 to 3 weeks, because around the 2-week mark is where the clients begin to have like their hair coming out, or finally coming out of the follicles or growing. So then that's when you can go ahead and do the full Brazilian wax. Do the full deluxe vagial. Again, deluxe, I would not suggest doing any waxing when you're doing that. Only mini vagial would I suggest a mini vagial with wax, not a deluxe. I hope that makes sense, guys. And she's all set. Looks so good. Look at how shiny and beautiful her skin looks, guys. Like, I get so excited for my clients when I see this, and I'm like, wow, like their skin definitely looks very hydrated, very clean. And this is when the time that you can spend doing extractions. You can have her go butterfly, do thing in the labias, and this is where you're gonna be able to really customize and make sure her skin and all that hair is gone. Okay. Okay.
Tamara, do you have a question for Kim?
No, that was an accident.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Thank you, Kim.
No, thank you, guys. And that's pretty much it. So I any other questions, we can go down the list and
yes, let me rapid fire go through some of these questions. Do you ask for a doctor's note for clients with HS?
No. Most of the time, and if your client has HS, that is completely fine. Also, just make sure they don't have any open lesions, any open sores, breakouts. If they do, they have like a couple mild ones, you are welcome to wax around the area. I have clients who have it and I've waxed over and then they won't stop bleeding. So it's very difficult to manage, but their doctor will always tell them that waxing is a better form of self-care for hair removal. Because when they have flare-ups and things like that, they can't shave over that or they can't trim over it because they can cut themselves. So it's always like, I know it's a little odd, but maybe could always ask your client, like, do some content with your skin. I feel like HS is very common and people who have HS can be inspired to get a wax. Again, make sure they don't have any open sores or lesions or anything like that.
Okay, perfect. Let me just see. There were a couple of questions up top. Oh, if you are a more infrequent waxer, does letting the wax harden and then reheating it a couple times affect the wax and like the performance of the wax?
No. So right now my wax is really cold, and if I go and heat it up again and I watch it for like maybe a minute and I just start to move it, the consistency just goes right back to where it should be. So again, that's completely fine if you're reheating it or if you're cooling it off and heating it up, cooling it, nothing will happen to the wax. Just the other day I left my wax on a little bit longer than I should have on high heat, and I poured wax in there, it cooled off, everything was fine. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. We have a question from Carolyn. Maybe you don't have to show us like your full room setup right now because it might be hard with the camera, but how do you make your like back bar set up so it helps you make your service flow better?
Okay, yeah, sure. I could step aside. I'm gonna move my laptop over so you guys can see I have a fan. It gets really warm in here sometimes. Clients get very nervous and sometimes they sweat. So I have a fan going sometimes to help them kind of relax a little bit. As you can see, I have my wax pot over here. My table is right here. So sometimes I'll have clients like lay towards the edge of the table. So that way I'm working here. Okay. My trash is over here, but I'm not constantly going back and forth. Today, I just placed all of my wax strips on the table as I'm working on her. And when I get like a nice pile, I walk over, open my trash, and then throw it away. The reason is because I do this sometimes, like I'll leave my trash open, but I do know that Stay Forward doesn't want you to leave your trash open. So just be very mindful of that. And then I have all of my back bar here. So you can see I have my wax sticks, cotton rounds, gloves, tissue, and any extra tools that I need. And everything else is pretty much put away because I don't need it currently. So that is basically it. And then this is my retail shelf or wall. A lot of my Bushbalm products are on my retail wall outside in my lobby area. But you can see that I have like my sterilizer, hot towel cavi. And then on this side, I just basically have my clients sit. This Valentina. And this is like their little area where they can put down their belongings. So it's kind of like a very, like as soon as my client walks in, I know this is my client's area. This is my workspace. I have my retail over here because clients shouldn't be behind my table. Because if they are, I'll probably be like, what, like your stuff goes over here. And that way, you know that your retail is pretty safe over here. So I hope that answers your question, but it flows very nicely for me. I know that some people have carts. I've seen that before, and I'm also tempted to try that out. And the reason being is because you could drag your cart with you wherever you are instead of having to walk back and forth all day long. And if that's what you feel comfortable doing, then that's fine as well. But I do know that it's easier to wax clients when your wax pot is here, your client's here, and you're just kind of working side to side. Okay.
Okay, I think we pretty much answered all the questions unless there are any more questions that anybody wants to throw in the chat right now for Miss Kim regarding the Bushbeads wax or any other Bushbalm product. Let me just see, I'm not missing anything here. Also, Kim, to answer your question way earlier, there were definitely a couple people who had never heard of the daisy chain method.
Yes, I love cheese. Oh, that makes me so happy. I love teaching the daisy chain method. It's like one of those like didn't need to know I needed to know that, but now that I know it, I won't stop doing it. So you guys are welcome for that one. And it's, again, one of my favorite techniques to teach because, especially for first timers, like it could be very intimidating laying some of these strips and you don't know if they're going to come out perfect, or you're just not there yet where you're creating strips that are such beautiful strips or good lips. So if any time that happens to you, please feel free to daisy chain and think of me when you're doing it.
Okay, wait, sorry, a couple things that came in here. What is your favorite Bushbalm product, Kim?
Oh my gosh. I think if I had to really, really, really pick, and it's just because it's a duo and I'm cheating, it'd probably be like the nude scrub and oil set, because I cannot
That's
live without
cheating.
it's not cheating, it's a set. It's a set, it comes in a set. So technically it's one product, it's a set. So I cannot live without my scrub and my oil. I need to exfoliate and I need to oil up my skin. And and to me, it could be nude or Bermuda. But I do love my sexy, what is it called? Sweet Escape. I love Sweet Escape as well.
Okay, so fair. And all the limited editions are fun too, for
Yes,
sure.
they are, definitely are. And I like to bring those out when I'm doing my at the end of my wax. Like if they have, like, for example, watermelon sugar, I'll put that one on at the end, and most clients will be like, whoa, what did you just apply on my skin? That smells delicious. And I'm like, well, let me tell you about it. It's a new product. They brought it back. And that's a really great way to plug in your retail as well.
Okay, I love that. Someone's asking, Misha, is there an alternative to high frequency?
Personally, I think high frequency is the only one that I would use to help kill that bacteria. I know that there's something special coming out in the Bushbalm Family Pro very soon. I cannot say, but it probably will be a good alternative, but stay tuned for that one.
Hee. Okay, let's just see. Do you think the daisy chain will help for the first strip on the pubic mound where the strip lip lays where there is hair? Sometimes I
Yes.
struggle with that first strip to grab.
Absolutely. It is definitely one of those probably the hardest strip to land as a first time esthetician, cosmetologist / waxer. That is such an intimidating strip to land, and the labias. So if that ever happens, especially when clients have like a fold in the labias at the bottom, that technique will take you so long. And I feel like I am so happy when I get to discuss like these small techniques that can really alter your experience as a waxer and the experience of your clients as well. So let me know, Jalay, I hope I'm saying that right. Jalali. Feel free to DM me if you try. Let me know if it works for you. Anybody else too, if you guys use it today or in the next week with your clients, please, please, please let me know if that helped you.
I love that. Tamara's just asking if you can use the scrub on the bikini area, and the answer is yes. It's totally safe to do so. Karen looks like she has her hand up. Did you want to ask him a question, Karen? Maybe it was a mistake.
Okay.
Let me know if you do have a question. And then a question from Carolyn. What are your pros and cons to using the paper on the bed instead of the wax mat?
I do have a wax mat, like you could see here. This is like, I bought this at Joann's. So I know that there's a lot of fancy ones out there, and they're very targeted towards like estheticians. But personally, I liked it because it was leather and it was dark. A lot of like companies at the time when I bought this only had white, and I didn't want something white. So personally, I still use this, and I will still use the roller paper. I have it right over here. So I still use both just because I want that extra protection on my table, especially because clients do sweat. And personally, I wouldn't want to lay on top of leather sweating. It's very uncomfortable. So I do think that for me, it is helpful to use a roller paper as well.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I think we nailed every question that was in here. There were a lot of thank yous to Kim and Valentina, our model. Lots of love coming in the comment section. So thank you guys for sharing that love. If you did have to jump in and out of this call, we will be posting the full recording on YouTube. Valentina, hi. We will be posting the full recording on YouTube. Now, just so you know, the YouTube recording will not be showing Valentina's Brazilian area just because YouTube doesn't allow it. But if you watch the recording, it will be Kim like explaining. You'll hear all the audio essentially. So you'll just have to kind of visualize yourself what's happening there. But you'll be able to hear all of the explanation. So yeah. Okay.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you always to my Bushbalm Pro family. If you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me on my IG. I'm always available here for the community. Any questions you have, especially regarding Bushbalm products, I'm always here to help you guys.
And I just dropped Kim's at below because it's not Kim, it's _wax junkie.
Yay!
And this is also just a little plug for anybody joining, but in this weekend we are going to ESI Toronto Beauty Show. So that's a show in Canada. So we will be doing a wax demo there. We will also be going to the Dallas trade show happening May 18th, 19th. Hopefully I got those dates right. And then we are also going to Vegas at the end of June. And that's where Miss Kim is going to be hosting wax demos at our booth. And she will also be hosting a master class of vagials and bush beads waxing in like in a classroom setting, I guess. So if you are headed to Toronto, Dallas, or Vegas, we will be there. Vegas will probably be the biggest one because it's just a bigger show and Kim's going to be there. But please, please, please come say hi. And if you haven't had a chance to use the wax, please come to our booth. We'll have the wax for you to test out. It really is just such a game changer. So we want everyone to get their hands on it.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a great Monday, everybody.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Bye.